According to the United Nations, Europe's regional homicide rate has dropped by 63% since 2002. Historically, this decline in lethal violence has served as a reliable baseline for overall societal safety. But focusing exclusively on homicide data obscures a different trend. Over the last decade, police-recorded sexual violence offenses have increased by 94%. Their latest assessments describe a structural shift in how organized crime operates across the continent. Modern criminal networks in Europe have moved away from the localized, siloed models of previous decades. These organizations now function as highly integrated corporate-style enterprises, utilizing specialized labor and international supply chains to move illicit goods. This operational model is built on several key foundations: the exploitation of macroeconomic logistics, the infiltration of legal systems through systemic corruption, and the scaling power provided by digital anonymity. To understand this evolution, we have to map the physical and digital vectors these groups use, evaluate the national intervention models designed to stop them, and analyze the European Union's new administrative strategy. Organized crime is no longer just a localized policing issue. By infiltrating legal businesses and transport hubs, these networks have become a direct threat to the stability of national infrastructure. The primary physical vector for this corporate crime model is the maritime shipping network. Ports like Antwerp and Rotterdam process tens of millions of containers every year, serving as the gateway for global trade. The sheer volume of this traffic creates a massive logistical vulnerability. Authorities only have the capacity to physically inspect between 2 and 10% of all containers entering the European Union. To bypass security, syndicates use PIN code fraud. By corrupting insiders like shipping clerks, they obtain digital reference codes for specific containers. Stolen codes allow extraction crews to legally drive into a terminal, pick up a drug-laden container, and depart without triggering an alarm. In response to increased scanning, these groups are fragmenting their shipments, moving smaller, more frequent loads across multiple vessels to distribute their financial risk. This high-volume infiltration doesn't stay at the docks. It spills over into surrounding neighborhoods, turning economic transit hubs into centers for localized gang violence and municipal instability. These networks are also scaling through digital tools, creating a velocity gap where criminal agility outpaces the capabilities of traditional law enforcement. The rise of crime as a service allows small cells to use generative AI to construct hyper-personalized fraud and phishing campaigns in multiple languages with minimal manual effort. Ransomware tactics have also shifted toward triple extortion. Syndicates bypass corporate data backups by threatening the public release of sensitive internal data, forcing organizations to negotiate payouts to avoid reputational damage. These decentralized digital networks blur the line between online exploitation and physical harm, proving that digital anonymity has become a primary driver of real-world violence and extortion. While transnational threats grow, cities are testing different strategies to manage the street-level fallout, beginning with the public health model pioneered in Scotland. The Scottish Violence Reduction Unit treats violence as a preventable disease. Their approach combines primary prevention for children with targeted intervention for at-risk youth and rehabilitation for offenders. This model helped drive a 58% drop in violent crime across Scotland. However, it faces a significant constraint. Violence reduction often plateaus in deeply impoverished areas where the root causes are most entrenched. In Sweden, authorities in Malmö launched the Sluta Shoot initiative, which is built on a strategy of focused deterrence. This model relies on group violence intervention. Law enforcement and community leaders deliver a direct message to specific networks. If any single member commits a violent act, the entire group faces immediate collective legal consequences. Both the health and deterrence models successfully suppress active shooters in the short term, but their long-term viability depends on sustained funding and the maintenance of fragile community trust. Denmark has taken a more punitive approach to dismantling gangs through their successive bandepakker, or gang packages. This model utilizes aggressive legislative tools, including double sentencing provisions for gang-related crimes and territorial area bans to restrict suspected members from gathering in public. But these measures created unintended side effects. Area bans often just displace crime to adjacent zones, and strict firearm laws led to a weapon substitution effect, where gangs increasingly used knives to settle disputes. In contrast, Portugal's Law 30/2000 focuses on a decriminalization model, moving drug possession for personal use into the hands of administrative health commissions. While this model halved problematic drug use and HIV transmission for decades, recent funding cuts and treatment backlogs have led to a rise in overdoses and a visible increase in public drug use. These national strategies show that localized interventions cannot survive in isolation. Without sustained resources and broader structural support, they eventually buckle under the pressure of transnational supply chains. The core failure of many national strategies is that they focus on street-level enforcers, rather than the financial architecture that sustains corporate syndicates. The European Multidisciplinary Platform Against Criminal Threats, or MPACT, serves as the macro-level response to this oversight for the 2026 to 2029 cycle. This cycle introduces a structural shift, the integration of financial investigations across every crime area. The goal is to systematically strip criminal networks of their capital to prevent the reinvestment of illicit profits. Targeting finances is the most effective way to disable a syndicate. In a corporate model, losing low-level members is simply a cost of doing business, but losing infrastructure stops the operation entirely. Instead of relying solely on standard policing, the administrative approach integrates regulatory powers. Criminal prosecutions take years, but this approach weaponizes civil codes, allowing cities to immediately target commercial sectors where criminal networks park their money. By utilizing municipal licensing, health inspections, and public procurement audits, authorities can create proactive barriers that block criminal groups from exploiting legal business infrastructures. Modern European security requires a dual-layered defense: health-led interventions addressing street-level violence, paired with aggressive administrative disruption to dismantle the financial infrastructure fueling these syndicates.